It's Math 142. Final practice test. This problems 12 and 13. I'm going to do them together because they both have the same initial conditions. So I know that sine of u is negative 4/5. I know cosine of v is 5/13, and both of these angles terminate in quadrant 4. So let me get a little bit. I'm going to need sine and cosine to figure out both of these values, to figure out that value, and to figure out sine of u minus v. So I know sine of this, I know cosine of that. If it terminates in quadrant 4, it means it's going to be here. Sine's negative, which it should be if it terminates here. This is angle u, yeah. I can use Pythagorean theorem or just know that it's a 3, 4, 5. So x is going to be positive 3. So if sine is that, I know that cosine of u is 3/5. And then with v, it's very similar. Terminates somewhere in 4. This is going to be 5/13, right? Because cosine gives me x over r. Use Pythagorean theorem to work this out. And I'd go 13 squared minus 5 squared. Then I'd square root it. And let's see, what is that? 12. But it's not positive 12. It's negative 12 because we're in quadrant 4, right? It terminates there. So if cosine of v is 5/13, it's in quadrant 4. That means sine of v is negative 12/13. Great. So now I have all the pieces I need. So now I can break these up. Cosine of u plus v. If I look at my lookup for sum and difference, cosine of u plus v, cosine of the first, cosine of the second one, opposite operator. So if this is plus, it's going to turn to minus. Sine of the first, sine of the second. So this would be cosine of u, cosine of v, minus, opposite operator, sine of u multiplied by sine of v. Now I'm going to plug in my values and go. So cosine of u is 3/5. Cosine of v is negative 4/5. Minus sine of u, oh, I just did u. U, v, look how I messed it up. Cosine of u is 3/5. Cosine of v is 5/13. Minus sine of u is negative 4/5. Sine of v is negative 12/13. All right. So now what I got to do is a little bit of multiplying. Let's see. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 13 is 65. Minus, negative times negative is positive, so that's going to be 48. That's also 65. And so then once I do that subtraction, 15 of them minus 48 of them, it's going to be negative 33 of them. So there's my value for cosine of u plus v. Sine of u minus v, I have all my pieces, but I'm going to break it up a little different. Remember sine, either remember or look it up, sine breaks up sine of u, sine of the first, cosine of the second, same operator, cosine of the first, sine of the second. So this will break up into sine of u, cosine of v, same operator, cosine of u, sine of v. All right, so let me plug in those values. I'll be careful this time. Sine of u is negative 4/5. Cosine of v is 5/13. Minus cosine of u is 3/5. Sine of v is negative 12/13. So this is going to be negative 20 over 65. And notice I have a negative. This would be a negative 36, but then it's subtracted, so it's plus 36/65. Negative 20 of them plus 36 of them is 16 of them. There's 12 and 13.